How about that? Kenny Brack and the Subwoofers. I think the 99 winner is expected to join us here shortly as we're at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Practice for the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race is delayed because of Mother Nature, but for the first time, it actually kind of looks like a practice day out here. You actually can look out and see people walking around Pagoda Plaza. There are some, we would say, trucks on the track right now, maybe a few of them trying to get things dry. I have not seen the jet dryers, but it actually looks like it's starting to look like an actual nice day outside, right? So I guess that helps. So you were asking, and I thought you asked a pretty good question, Jimmy, about just like the driver mentality of, how frustrating is it or how challenging would it be? And one guy that can actually probably answer that for us, sliding in right now, he is the 1999 Indianapolis 500 champion. He was the first Swede, and for that matter, the first of two Swedes to take the famous swig of milk and then led A.J. Foyt to say, "I'm just so wonderful." Kenny Brack joins us here on the show. Kenny, first off, man, welcome back to Indianapolis. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
I'm going to begin with the question that Jimmy was just talking about. From a driver standpoint, when you have this kind of a delay, going into a second day now, and you kind of expected to get out there and how mentally challenging is it, or is it at all?
Oh, well, it is. I think everyone that comes here, it's you want to use every minute of the testing time to set your car up for the race and everything. So then it starts to rain. Of course, it's not ideal. Unfortunately, it's part of life in Indiana.
That's right.
In May.
You're right. You know that, right? Now, which leads to, I guess, the other question, and that is, these are, we know that there was supposed to be the hybrid engine. That has not taken place. That's going to happen later in the year. But for that reason, maybe the setup of the car is a little bit different because they thought there'd be a different engine in there. But for the most part, same car and chassis combo as years past. What more can be learned for someone who has taken extensive laps around this place?
Well, I think there's some changes now in tires and stuff to accommodate for the hybrid, maybe, right. And so. I think, but the teams have already run now several races and stuff, so they probably know about those things already. So it's about fine tuning now with the package, what you have and everything, and trying to make it good over a race distance and trying to find the speed in qualifying in that. So I think it's just business as usual for the teams and drivers. It's just about getting the time on the track.
Right,
Kenny. When I look at the opportunity to win the Borg-Warner Trophy, win the Indianapolis 500, I look at it the same way as being able to win a gold medal, especially if you're an international driver. Looking back when you won it in 1999, did it feel that same way and a real sense of civic pride for your country to be the first Swede to do it?
I don't think that ever crossed my mind in that way. You're probably more egoistical than that as a driver.
Sure,
you probably want to win it for yourself.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing wrong with that, right? Here's what's great. Here's my favorite trivia question involving Kenny Brack and the Indy 500, right? I don't know if you know this or not, but they're in the ABC broadcast in 1999, and this is what I love about it, and we're on radio, so I got to be careful, so I'll say it delicately. But it's the only time, to my knowledge, that I know of, that two F-bombs were dropped in the broadcast within like a minute and a half of each other, because Robbie Gordon you were running in second, Robbie Gordon's leading the race, right? Robbie Gordon runs out of fuel. And when he realizes was it one or two laps to go when Gordon has to pull in, right?
Yeah.
So they take Robbie Gordon's radio live, and he drops the almighty, very long, extended F-bomb, right? And so they're like, oh, okay, well, Robbie Gordon's not happy, but I'll bet Kenny Brack is. So they then take your radio, to which, do you remember, now don't say the word, but do you remember what you said?
I think I did, yeah. It was,
but no celebrating until they wave the blanking flag, right? And I'm like, yes, 2 in 2 minutes. Awesome, right? Of course, you didn't know you're on ABC, right?
Well, no, I didn't know. I was just trying to get the car over the finish line. But I think AJ he started celebrating, and I was like, I think he said we won it or something. And but I knew it was one lap to go. So, there was some cynical comments made.
Well, I would imagine when you're in the car, man, that last lap, to be fair, though, what is the sensation or the feeling of knowing like you've turned hundreds of practice laps and everything else, but now you've just got to do it one more time. And we've seen, I mean, it's not over till you make it all the way through. So what was that last lap like?
Well, it was the whole last stint, really, because the thing is, Robbie pitted on, I can't remember the lap now, but the majority of us, we pitted like 3-4 laps later. And that was troublesome making it to the end. So by pitting, Robbie took the lead at lap, 165 or something like this. And we were running, of course, Robbie was now leading, and I had to save fuel. I saved a lot of fuel just to stretch it to the end. I guess 5, 6, 7 laps from the end, I got the call from AJ to go full fuel and now I could just start running. And so we started taking seconds out of Robbie's lead per lap because he was the other way. He needed to save because they were hoping for a yellow. That never came. And we had been saving and we could go full steam ahead. So the whole thing was quite, tense, let's say, because if there would have been a yellow, Robbie would have won, but there was no yellow. so he peels into the pits, obviously disappointing for them and great for us. But as you say, a lot of things can happen around here. So I just wanted to get that last lap. There was nobody really that could threaten, but you can still run an engine might blow, a gearbox, a puncture.
Sure, I mean any
number of things can happen.
I mean, ask J.R. Hildebrand, right? I mean, he's obviously a mega talented guy, but it's traffic in front of you. You go high and you get in the marbles.
You never know.
So you are now working for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. I would assume that this is the kind of stuff that you are talking through with their stable of drivers. You've got Graham Rahal, Christian Lundgaard, Pietro Fittipaldi, and the two-time winner Takuma Sato on the team. Your role is what? And if it's coaching, is it weird to coach a guy that's won it twice?
No, I think Takuma is fine. They're all fine. But sometimes it could maybe be good to have a different perspective on things. Like when you're in this, you're right in it. Sometimes by looking at it from a from a helicopter perspective, perhaps there's something to add to a situation, maybe to give some support depending on how much experience you have here, and so that's what my role is basically. You
enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's I've been back many times since I stopped IndyCar racing. It's a bit like Back to the Future. You're back in it again a little bit, although not as a driver, but certainly different when you're working within a team, and then to be here as a guest of the Speedway. It's a different feel to that.
How long does it take to establish the trust and relationship between driver and team, or driver and crew chief? How long does that take to establish that level of trust? Because that's so important in a race like this.
Yeah. I think in this case they work with each other for the whole season, so they come into this race with having worked with each other. Yeah. So I think that is established. Takuma is different because obviously he's doing one-off race, but on the other hand, he's got a lot of experience, so he can bridge that with his experience and all that stuff. So. Yeah, if you come in only for this race and having never been here before, then it's a big challenge. But nobody of the drivers are in that position.
Which turn is the hardest?
Turn 1 is probably the hardest. Turn 2 is also hard. Turn 1 is hard because it's you have quite a high speed down the front straightaway, and sometimes the light in turn 1 can be a bit difficult. Turn 2 is hard because there are some bumps there that you have to sort of be aware of. Turn 3 and 4 I always found to be a bit easier, although I know a lot of people also have trouble there.
Well, it's fascinating to me, Kenny, because I've asked that question to a lot of guys, and you always get a different answer.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 of 4 answers, but you always get, you know what I mean? It's different for everybody, which is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Kenny Brack is our guest. He was the 1999 Indy 500 winner, of course, driving for AJ Foyt, now working for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. It is well documented, and I know you've talked about it a lot, but you were involved in a horrific open-wheel racing accident. And my apologies that off the top of my head, I can't recall the year. I would guess 04 or 05. Am I right?
03.
03. So you're involved in a terrible accident. You work your way all the way back, and it was a long, long, long haul, medically speaking.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you get a situation where in a non-pole day run, you qualify the fastest car in the field in the race for Rahal Letterman, if I'm not mistaken, for that team. When you look back on, and I ask this because I want people, and I do this a lot with drivers, people that are going through a tough time, people that have doubt about whether or not they can get back to a place in their life that they want to be. You did that. And you did it while, quite frankly, fighting for your life at some points of it. How much do you still lean on the resiliency you showed from that? And what would you say to people about never losing sight of the comeback?
Well, I mean, that's important. I think if you do something you really enjoy, I don't think anyone wants to be carried out on the stretcher. If you're a football player or a racing driver, whatever it is, you want to do it on your own terms. I think it's very important for your own self-esteem. And I think, sports people, they have that crazy drive. I think they're not going to take no for an answer,
Right.
So for me, it was important to come back. It was also important to come back in the right environment, because if you have a crash like I had, and then you accept to come back in a team that maybe don't have the tools to win, then most likely the public perception of that poor result would be that of course he can't drive as fast as he could because he had that huge crash. So I had a couple of offers in the beginning of 2005 to come back. I turned them down because I knew that they weren't regular teams, and very difficult for a non-regular team to come into the Indy 500 and win it. So the Indy 500 started, and I thought I'll miss it, but it was then Buddy Rice had his crash, and he was my replacement. So I replaced my replacement in a way.
Right.
But it didn't take me long to get up to speed. So it was the car was great that year. The G-Force chassis with the Honda engine. It was. I don't know if I've driven a better car around here. So it was. It was.
Does everything in life seem easy now because of that? I mean, when you look back, do you go, well, this is, I had a pretty horrific experience that I came back from. How can I be worried about whether or not my band's getting another gig? You know what I mean?
Well, thing is, we always live in the present, right? You can't be living in the past. So whatever you did in the past, it's great, but it's not going to help you tomorrow. You can only draw some experiences from it. But life is never easy. I don't think it's easy for anyone. No matter what you do and where you are, you always have challenges that on the surface might seem like nothing, but they might be big challenges for the individual, So, I don't know. I mean, it's you do what you have to do.
If I won the Indy 500, I would live in the past because I'd be like every single day. You know what I mean? Let's be real, right? Every day, don't you get up and for breakfast, you're like, I'll take a swig of milk. What the hell, right?
No, the price check doesn't come every day. It just came once.
That's true. That is a nice perk, right? Are you still in the band?
Yeah, I still have a band in London.
You're living in London, right?
Yeah. So we write and record music. Yeah.
Who's your favorite band?
Oh God, I don't know. I love music. I listen to a lot of music, singer-songwriter stuff. Steve Earle.
Steve Earle's good.
Yeah, he's good. There's many people like Van Morrison is good. Obviously, Mark Knopfler. I have, Jeff Beck on the guitars. World's best guitar player, probably. I think. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, the year before. But I listen to a lot of different music, and it's all good, in its own way.
I'm big on Oasis. You like Oasis?
Yeah, some songs. Yeah,
I told you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
The Brits, man. Although are you an adopted Brit now? I guess if you're in England, you're playing music. That makes you a Brit, right? Even though you're a Swede. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you got to recognize good for what good is. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. Well, Kenny, it's always good to see you out here. I love it when, and I don't even know if this is intentional, but I've seen before your autograph different places, and I think you do a smiley face in it. Is that by design that you do like a smiley face in your autograph?
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Always upbeat and always in a good mood.
No, I wouldn't say that, but I'm trying. I'm trying.
All right. It's good seeing you out here, man. Appreciate it.